So I'm starting to bring quite a few of mine back into work after the kind of autumn winter break, which has been very much dictated by the weather. But that means for me that I do a lot of walk work with them, not just out hacking, but also in the school. So I thought I'd use Charlie today to show you some of the walk exercises that I do the most, because they are basically my favourite. So I quite often start my work in hand, and this is for a number of reasons. It kind of just gives me an idea of how they're feeling and things that I then need to work on. So this is more kind of the French classical / Portuguese way of working in hand. Good start. What I was saying before the camera blew over is just doing some kind of sort of suppling exercises. So I like to do kind of just a little bit of bending firstly, and kind of trying to relax jaw a little bit, make sure he's nice and soft and he's listening. So I like to use what is the Giravolta, which is basically like a combination between a leg yield and a shoulder in on a very small circle. So I'd usually do this around a block, but my block's a bit too close to the camera. So I'll pick up a circle first. You see quite a small circle, and then I'll just ask him to come round. Obviously he's a little bit stiff at the moment, so this isn't anywhere near the finished product, of course. Good boy, good. But it's just getting those little hints of sideways steps. Come on. And then I'll pop him into a leg yield out of that, which he finds really hard this way at the moment. Good boy. Keep going, we're gonna go past the poles. Good. Good boy. We'll just do that the other way. So depending on how he was feeling, I would do sometimes quite a lot of that. I think every horse should really learn this exercise. It's really, really useful. And it's something then you can start doing under saddle as well. Good boy. You can see how much better he is this way. So we can have the circle a little bit smaller, but he comes out through, he gives more space to the outside shoulder this way. So he stays a little bit straighter and doesn't overbend, basically. Ooh. Trying to keep it nice and slow though. Good boy. And then we'll go to a leg yield this way. I haven't quite got as much space. No, leg yield. Good boy. No, we're out the way. Come on, pup. Good. Well done. So I would kind of do that as many times as you feel you need to. But yeah, I really, really like that as an exercise. I use it a lot for all the horses, realistically. Yeah, it's nice to do under saddle as well. Obviously, you need to really start it in hand first. Right, so I'm gonna hop on. I probably should have brought some treats with me. Dog, out the way. I'm not getting on you. You need to move. You're probably not gonna want this here. Oh, okay. Oh, hang on, I've got to get on first before I give you a grub. Good boy, creature habit. So, obviously I'm going to start a little bit slow and steady, but we've had a good walk round already. Good boy. Oh, no, 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 it's not that scary and it hasn't blown over. It is a bit windy, so he was quite spooky when I rode him last, which was great, but he does seem a little bit better than last week. It's all right, it's all right, it's all right. Which is another reason at the moment that I'm doing more walk work than anything else. Right, don't dump me because I've got way too much to do later. So yeah, I'm just going to start walking around as normal, especially because he is a little bit tense. I obviously want him to relax. I'm just going to carry on kind of warming up / settling him down, and then we'll come back to the exercises. So we have chilled out a little bit, I think. My God, even though the wind is picking up more, so hopefully it doesn't fall over again. One of my big go-to exercises that I use like all the time, in hand as well, though probably more ridden, is kind of going from a bigger, faster walk down to what is working towards the school walk. It's not quite a school walk, so I will do it on the short sides, and basically it's this really slow and kind of precise, oh come on, steady walk that really highlights any balance issues, any self-carriage issues, any crookedness, anything like that, because they really have to think about their feet, and it's almost like walking the tightrope. You can see their balance when they walk on a little bit more, and we have a big walk here and now he can have a little stretch without spooking, please. It hides a lot sometimes, and you don't necessarily see some of the crookedness issues or straightness issues or balance issues that then when you slow things down, steady, just a little half halt, oh, don't trip. You know, I can feel he's leaning on me a little bit. He's lost his bend to the inside. Good boy. He's going to drift through the left shoulder. Good. So it really kind of shows those things. So obviously he can, I've done this a lot with him, and although he, you know, obviously he's had a break, so he's a bit wobbly, but he understands how to walk really slowly. Sometimes when you start this, especially if they're a bit on the forehand or they're a bit buzzy and they're a bit whizzy ponies anyway, when you start this, you know, your walk might not be very slow, but I think, hold that thought. But yeah, I think as long as there's a clear difference between the two, good boy, good, then it's beneficial. So the idea is that the shoulders lift slightly, the withers lift, he's using his back end a bit more and more underneath him, so the pelvis has to rotate, he has to take a bit more weight on the hindquarters, which obviously then lightens the front end. So if you're having a bit of a push and pull of slowing down, it's okay. I think that was the dog that you spooked at then. Yeah, if you're having a bit of an argument about slowing down, then the chances are it's probably because they're on the forehand and they can't go that slowly yet. So just kind of go as slow as they'll go without you having to like hang on to them. So I'm half halting him more because I think he's going to take off in a minute. Can you not? But I'm not holding him in that slow walk. Good boy, and have a little stretch and a big walk. Good, that's better. And obviously the more relaxed they are, the better this is going to be. He's a little bit upset, and I am not going to be letting him have this long of a rein on that other side. But we'll just change the rein and have a little go the other way, see what that feels like. But yeah, you should feel as it gets better and as they get stronger that the balance improves, they can stay on a straighter line, they're not leaning on you as much. It's just a really nice exercise in my opinion, and I think certainly when you're doing lots of walk work, or even when you're not, to be honest, I still like to use it. It's nice to kind of see where you're at with those things. Good boy. So I'm gonna take him a little bit further down the track this time, just to see if he doesn't wobble quite so much. I'm still gonna bring him off the track, so I know he's not hugging the fence. No, you're not going back out. So I'm gonna close my seat, slow him right down. So he's easier to slow this way. Stop looking at, well, I don't even know what. Stop looking for trouble. But now he's falling more left. Now that could be because he's wanting to cut this corner because it's scary. Good boy. We'll see when we do the next one if that's an influence. Or it could just be he's drifting onto that shoulder because he's not well balanced. You frightened yourself then. That was your own feet in the leaves. Good boy. Okay, Nova, you're getting bored. You want to go home now. Got a while yet, afraid. Steady. So I'm going to slow him again. Yeah, he's got his ears on. It's a dog. Steady. A little half halt, close the seat. Yeah, he's a bit more resistant now. Steady. Good boy. I'm going to see if we can get right in the corner this time. So now we're drifting to the outside and I can feel his quarters aren't straight. So I'm not too worried about correcting that at the moment. Good boy. Because I'm more just seeing what's going on. Good boy. We'll do one more this end. Let's do a little circle. Ooh. A little bit slower. And obviously this is slightly uphill here as well, so it makes it harder. So yeah, I can feel he's crooked. So I know that that's something we need to work on. And to an extent, that exercise in itself, good boy, will help him get more straight with just some little tweaks. So yeah, if you've got something that's on the forehand especially, you know, start out with just little incremental changes and it's such a good exercise. So our next exercise is the same as what we did in hand, to be quite honest with you, is our Giravolta. So actually I'm going to do it at the other end because he's just looking for trouble down here. So yeah, the Giravolta is a really nice suppling exercise. Charlie, stop. I know it's windy. I know, and everyone knows it's windy. It's been windy for the last week. You live outside in the wind. So our Giravolta is, again, it highlights issues. So I want him to be able to step across really nice and easily on that circle. And he gets a little bit braced, and he is leaning on me at the moment because he's not 100% happy with what's going on. Should we go around the dog? Oh no, she's moved. Good boy. So I think this is his slightly worse way from what I remember, but basically what I'm trying to feel is that the left hind leg is coming underneath and kind of taking the weight, and that the right shoulder, the right fore, is opening enough that it makes room for the rest of his body, basically. Good boy. So you can see it's not it's on a circle, but it's not, he's not moving in a circle. He's almost moving like hands around a clock. It's like pivoting round. Good boy. And then you can either go straight, or I quite like I did in hand, to go into a leg yield, back to the track, trying to go back to the track. Good boy. Yeah, you're quite upset today. You're doing good though. Good, 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 good. It takes a while to get, well, it depends how supple and flexible and off the leg your horse is. Like Charlie's quite good with moving away from the leg. Like he understands quite nicely, but he doesn't rush through it. Yes, he gets braced sometimes, and we have a little bit where he's against the hand because he still finds it difficult, and I've kind of got to guide him through it and keep him slow. You don't want to be rushing through this. Let's see what this way's like. Good boy. Round, round. Good. Good boy. I think this way's slightly better, but he's maybe going out through the shoulder a bit too much. I feel like I'm leaning to the left slightly because he's going a bit too much left. So I'm not worried about correcting these today. Good boy. It's more just showing, basically. Good boy, that's better. Good. But yeah, it might be very circular to start with, and that's why I would start these in hand as well. Just give them the benefit of the doubt so they know exactly what you're asking, and so you know what you're looking for, because quite often it's very easy. If I come back into one now, good boy, we go round. I know we're having a bit of a tug, aren't we? So obviously we're coming round nicely now, but it's very easy to turn that into just doing this. And obviously he's still kind of bringing the quarters round, but actually he's just almost falling in. The shoulders are now leading, and he's not really, good boy. He says, I'm not sure if we doing it like this, but you can see the difference basically. So it's easy to do that rather than stepping him across and keeping him more straight, basically. Good boy. And when they start, it's not unusual. Sorry, good boy, yeah, go straight for a bit. Good boy. Good. Once you've kind of mastered that to an extent, I mean, we certainly haven't mastered it, but he understands the exercise well enough, in my opinion. You know, you can start adding some different bits into it. So you can do a little bit this way. Obviously you can do your leg yield then out of it, and then you could pick another one back up. Or you can kind of come around and then switch sides. I quite like that as an exercise in itself. That's quite hard, but again, it highlights where there's maybe stiffness issues, and you'll find that them going from one direction to the other is easier one side, good boy, than the other. Like that's easier for him, I think, to go from left to right than it is to go from right to left. I know you've been very good. It's hard work, it's surprising. It's, yeah, it's very good. And it's not, I mean, we're not on a flat bit here either. You know, in general, there's hardly any flat up here, to be honest. We make do, good boy. Good. But yeah, it just means that you can check that they're on your aids as well and that they're listening. Good boy, well done, have a little stretch. Yeah, that is definitely one of my favourite exercises in hand and ridden. Good boy. This is why I don't understand when people say they don't like walk work or they find walk work boring. Like, I get it, you know, obviously it's more fun to be doing other stuff, but there is so much you can do in walk that is so beneficial and keeps it interesting. I don't actually know how long I've been riding now. It's probably a good 15 or so minutes. I haven't even thought about trotting yet, and that's not unusual for me, to do 15-20 minutes, including the in-hand at the start, in walk. You know, it's good for them. I quite enjoy doing it. So our third and final exercise is in a similar vein, in the sense that it's more lateral work, shock, and it is some kind of leg yields along the fence. I would probably normally do it that side, but because he's been a bit spooky, I'll do it this side, so it's not, you know, it's not a proper fence, but I would start with flexing him to the outside, to the left, and using my left leg to push him this way, and there we go, we've got a nice little bit of sideways along the fence. So if you're first teaching them leg yield, this can be really useful, especially if you've got a better fence than I have, or like a solid wall or a solid hedge, because the fence kind of helps them guide them sideways. You know, they're not going to walk into the fence, even like the electric like that. They're not really going to do that, hopefully anyway. So as you bend them towards the fence, they know they can't, oh God, they know they can't walk forwards, so they know they've got to do something else. And it can be a bit tricky to start with, and they'll try all sorts to kind of get themselves away from it, but it is a really good way of starting leg yield, in my opinion. So we'll do that again. Good boy. Oh, and then we will be done because it is cold. So I'm just going to flex him a little bit left. I don't want to flex him too much. And then I use my left leg, like you would do in a leg yield if you were going from left to right. And just ask him to come across. Good boy. And then actually we can straighten up, and he should be able to go the other way. Now doing it this way is much harder because there's no wall now. So if I kind of let go, you're just going to walk forward, and that's what the wall helps stop when you kind of counter bend into it. Good boy. Yeah, the leg yield along the wall, bending into the wall, I find is good for starting leg yield. Once you kind of got that going well on both reins, you can then try the leg yield to the inside and along the wall that way. And that's then a good way of starting to incorporate shoulder in. It is different, it isn't shoulder in. Like I've said this loads of times in videos. You know, a leg yield along the wall isn't the same as shoulder in, but it's a good place to start. Good boy. So we're going to keep going this way. Sorry, buddy, I need to sit up a bit. I'm getting very cold, so I'm getting crunched up. Good boy. We're going to go a little bit further. Yeah, we're not swapping yet. And then literally I just swap all my aids around. So I'm going to push his bum round with my right leg, not too much that you touch the fence though. And then I'm keeping my left rein, so my outside rein now, to kind of guide him down along the fence. And I'm looking where I'm going. So if he gets a bit steep there, I just push him back over slightly. You know, it's not fluid, it's not there yet. Good boy. But you can see he understands and he tries. You good boy. It's a really nice one, and once you've kind of mastered that again, if you want to make it slightly harder, do it on the 3/4 line, do it on the centre line, and see how straight you can keep them without having any track or any wall to kind of keep you in. I know we've got the lovely background of our jumps, and they're blown over in the wind. Good boy. Now come this way. Good. Good boy. You're so smart. Yeah, it's much easier this way. Good boy. But yeah, I can very easily, over time, not right now, but change that into more shoulder in. Good boy. Well done. So yeah, they are kind of my favourite, what was that? 4 exercises if you include the in-hand stuff. Yeah, walk exercises that I use to an extent pretty much every time I ride. I might not do as much as I've done today, but I definitely use all of those as part of my warm-up. And if I'm riding a new horse or trying to see where something's at, I definitely use them to see, you know, highlight any little issues that then we can work on in other exercises or through that exercise itself. We are going to finish there because it is freezing cold and I cannot actually feel my fingers now. Good boy. Ooh. So yeah, give them a go, see how you get on. Don't expect them to be perfect. I mean, say Charlie's are still far from perfect, and he still fights a little bit, he gets a bit under tension, he finds things difficult. That is 100% going to happen with you as well. But just keep giving it a go. As long as there is a little bit of progress each time you try it, then, you know, that's a win in my eyes. So yeah, give it a go, see how you get on, and maybe I will do hello, maybe I'll do some of our favourite kind of trot work exercises as well, because maybe when it's a little bit calmer and the wind is less windy. I know your ears are blowing in the wind. Yeah, maybe we'll do that next. When it's a calmer day and we can do a little bit more trot work, we'll do my favourite trot work exercises. So yeah, I will see you in the next one. Hey, won't we? Oh, good boy.